Alright, let's tackle the backhand loop against backspin. I used to have a misconception, recommending springier rubbers for a better backhand loop. But the springier the rubber, the harder it is to grip the ball, and the faster it comes off the racket. This is why Butterfly developed D09C, to compensate for rubbers with too much catapult effect. So for your backhand, avoid rubbers that are overly bouncy. Overly bouncy rubbers release the ball too quickly, which is why elite players don't use them for this shot. They use tacky or hybrid, tacky/tension, rubbers. Even the pros who use D09C use the 37-degree tacky version. But most stick to hybrid or fully tacky sheets. However, fully tacky rubbers require a lot of power, so for amateurs, a hybrid rubber is ideal. Is this the kind of ball you fear? A fast, heavy backspin serve that's difficult to loop. Today, I'll teach you how to handle this heavy backspin on your backhand. First, a quick detour on serving. Between these two serves, which one has more spin? First serve, second serve. The motion frequency is the same, but the second one is much spinnier. Let me explain why. Here's the secret to generating that heavy spin. Normally, we stop our sidespin backspin serve motion here. Instead, at the end of the motion, add a final flick of the wrist. Right after contact, pronate your wrist to tilt the left side of the blade upward. This extra friction imparts a final burst of sidespin and backspin force onto the ball. Don't just stop. Make sure you add that final wrist snap at the end. This will make your serve incredibly spinny. Notice how low the ball bounces. After you cut the ball, add a scoop. That's the key to a heavy backspin serve. Now, let's break down why amateurs struggle to return this serve for years. First, mentally, players get intimidated. Fear leads to tension and slow reactions, which prevents a soft, spinny contact. You have to first mentally commit to learning and adapting to this ball. Second, a common footwork error. When receiving to the backhand, you fail to step in with your right foot, losing power. Watch me. When the serve comes, my right foot steps up. You tend to stay static and just swing your arm. This is why you either get jammed or you're too far from the ball. Your positioning is inconsistent. I have to use a parallel stance to generate power on my backhand loop. A left foot forward stance won't work. Also, note that for a service return, the backhand stroke must be very compact. If I'm doing a serve and attack and want to generate maximum power, my backswing will be this large. During the return, you must master the concept of meeting the ball. Meeting the ball means you anticipate the curve. A side spin serve won't travel in a straight line like a simple push. You must actively move your racket to intercept the ball's path to avoid misreading the spin. Find the contact point instantly. Your focus must be absolute because the ball will curve. This is a key challenge in service return. Use your body's center of gravity and your racket to find the ball's ideal contact point. For the backhand, this contact point is usually in front of your left abdomen. Every shot should be hit from this position. If the ball is out of position, you must move your body to re-establish that contact point. Positional errors are the most common fault. Third, this movement isn't body rotation, it's a weight transfer. A loop involves this weight shift, whereas pure rotation looks like this. There's no torso rotation. The weight is simply loaded onto the right side at contact, and you execute the shot from there. Because the ball is fast, there is no time for a full weight transfer. You only use a full weight transfer when the opponent's return is weak and you want to initiate a powerful attack. However, when returning a fast serve, your body's center of gravity must not move up or down. Vertical movement is for slower balls where you want to generate power by squatting and exploding upwards. Against a fast sidespin backspin serve, you must stay low. Keep your legs bent and your core engaged. There is no squatting, rising, or turning. If your body movement is even slightly slow, you'll lose the precious time needed to execute the hand and arm action. Often, a missed loop isn't a problem with your hands, it's an issue with your footwork, balance, or contact point. A common mistake is rising up during the backhand loop. In all my backhand attacks, my center of gravity remains incredibly stable. I only drive my weight forward when I'm aiming for maximum power. On fast returns, the motion is a quick, compact snap. You must feel grounded in your legs. If your legs are weak, your body is unstable, and your hand cannot be firm. Your body works as a single unit. You can't have loose legs and a tight, controlled hand. The speed of a service return is too high. Your entire body must be in a very compact and ready state to execute the loop. Therefore, your lower body must be compact and stable before the return, which enables your upper body to react quickly. So, no vertical movement, keep your center of gravity stable, and engage your legs. A stable base ensures a stable upper body stroke. Now, let's discuss friction. Watch the difference between my contact and her. Why can I power loop a heavy spin serve? It's because the rotation of my racket head is much more pronounced. It's all about rotating the racket face through the ball. On a clock face, my backswing starts with the racket head pointing at 5 o'clock to rotate it up. But during your backswing, the racket head is pointing at 3 o'clock, you just lowered your arm a bit. This is why I always say, for a good backhand, your forearm must be lower than your upper arm, your wrist lower than your forearm, and your racket head lower than your wrist. You need this descending alignment. During your backswing, the racket head must drop. When your racket head is down, you can rotate it upwards through the ball to generate spin. If you only dropped your arm down, you haven't actually dropped the racket head. You'll only have a limited range of motion to rotate the racket face upward. If your timing is early, you'll hit the bottom edge of the ball. But by dropping and rotating the racket head, I use its acceleration, the fastest part of the racket, to create the most stable arc and the heaviest topspin. So the key is this: the racket head must stay dropped until the exact moment of contact, then it rotates. You see? My racket drops much lower than yours. Then, at contact, I rotate the racket head and brush the ball. I only begin the rotation at the precise moment I meet the ball. Your motion is too linear, which results in more of a push. The more you rotate the racket head, the more spin you will generate. Keep the racket head down. Drive into the ball, then snap the forearm forward and through. After the snap, extend the arm. After that rotation, extend your arm to release the power. The reason amateurs can't generate power is that they decelerate upon contact. After the backswing, as soon as you touch the ball, you either lift up or wipe sideways. My backhand feels effortless because I continue to accelerate through the ball after contact. I drive forward through the ball, and only at the very end does my forearm snap and rotate. Use your forearm to drive it. Don't rush the timing. Let the ball come into your ideal hitting zone. You stop your motion short. That's a high arc, loopy shot. A forward, penetrating drive feels more like throwing a frisbee. You have to send the ball forward. If you're only aiming for a high, loopy ball, stopping your motion there is fine. You get enough spin and can recover quickly. But for a forward drive, I must rotate my forearm. My racket's red rubber finishes facing the table, with the racket tip pointing at the opponent. To throw a frisbee, you have to flick it forward like this. Exaggerate the feeling at first. Just like with the forehand, you must learn to separate the upper arm and forearm. Amateur players lack explosive power. So, what is it? Explosive power is like a whip, the handle moves first, and the tip snaps through at the very end. You must sequence your arm segments like that whip. The upper arm drives forward, then the forearm rotates and snaps. It's a drive then rotate sequence, not moving the entire arm as one solid piece. That unitary motion kills your power. The upper arm stops, and the forearm accelerates. Let me see you punch one. When you punch, you're only using your wrist and racket head. Your forearm isn't driving through the ball. You must drive the forearm forward. Prioritize the arm segments. My upper arm drives forward 1/3 of the way, then my forearm accelerates. If you're struggling with power, practice this punch drill. The goal isn't to master the punch itself, but to feel that forearm acceleration. Once you find that feeling, the second half of your backhand loop will have the same explosive quality as that punch. The problem is insufficient forearm acceleration and forward drive. Typically, against heavy spin, you lift with your upper arm. Against light spin, you wipe sideways. This is the common backhand issue. Think of it like a swordsman drawing his blade, it's that single, incredibly fast swoosh. It's the same for the backhand flick. If your arm is one unit, the flick has no power. But if you separate the segments and accelerate the forearm, your backhand will be unstoppable.